Welcome in everybody to the TK Pod. My name is Tyler Kluver. I was once a Division I football player. I am now a podcaster, fitness coach, and CrossFit athlete, doing all of that as a husband and father of two. This show is an audio journal, a spot for me to vent or ramble about thoughts I have relating to fitness and health, my personal competitive aspirations, business, entrepreneurship, and more. I hope that each show can provide one small bit of value for you, the listener. Regardless, I'm glad you're here. Let's have a day. Let's go. Back again for another TK Pod, September 15th, 2025. You're listening to this on the 17th or later. Back to the Monday record schedule. Welcome in. Glad to have you guys here. Going to have a good, short, concise show today. Going to talk a little bit about my up-to-date, current day weight, where I'm sitting body weight wise, why that is relevant, where that has sort of fluctuated over the past, we'll say 6 months since being in a deep competitive high volume phase through the birth of my second child and taking a large step back and now ramping back up into a little bit more volume, a little bit more of a consistent training schedule, and why the body weight matters and how it affects each phase of that, where we want to go with it, because that's really the important part. And we'll talk a little disc golf as well. Exciting stuff. Monday, not usually a day where I'm thinking a lot about disc golf, but we got to play a round last week. Went out to a course that I've only ever played part of, never a full round on, and so got a full round score. Spoiler alert, not a super impressive round. Let's see, anything else on the agenda today? Not much, really, work-wise, job-wise, business-wise, things are pretty smooth right now. We are continuing to see, and September is going to be an exciting month numbers-wise, continuing to see matching all-time numbers as far as what we're doing on the podcast show side of things for the football stuff. That's really exciting. Busy time of year. Kids are both, in school/daycare. We call it school for the 2-year-old Kindiesel, but it's daycare. But the way they have it set up, it's first yawn of the program. It's set up about as much like school as you can be for a 2-year-old. And then the little boy, Brooksy's at daycare. They're 11. They're crushing. It's been hot for a week, basically since the last time I recorded the podcast. It has gotten hotter, but we are, I think this is the last push of the heat, the last little hurrah for the real heat. There will still be, I'm sure, some warm days throughout the rest of September and maybe a few in October, but we are really entering fall at this point, and that is good for training, especially running. A lot of the workouts I do are in the garage, so they are outside. Whatever the temperature is outside is the temp in the garage, sometimes even slightly worse if there's, no wind. It's pretty stuffy in there. However, I'm out of the sun, right? And that sun exposure certainly matters when I'm running, which we have been doing. We have entered officially, we will enter week 6 of our 10-week running program. We are halfway through, exactly halfway through. We'll be in week 6 this week, starting tomorrow, with a retest, sort of a mid-program retest of the mile run. And we're going to see how much progress we've made through 5 weeks of training. Again, my trial time to start the program, which was really off of no running at all. I would say I would have. Zach, my brother, and I did a couple workouts where we ran a total of 800 meters to a mile. I did a couple other workouts where I might have reached a total of a mile running. Um, but we were talking like no specific run pieces for months. No specific, and really before that, even when I was doing semifinals training, I was not running at all because I knew that there wasn't gonna be any part of it. Um, so my ability running wise, and maybe not even so much my ability, but my comfortability at a certain pace, at high percentages of what you can run is so much greater just after 5 weeks of running. It is one of these few positive things that I find from doing running training, running pieces consistently is that the benefit that you can get is massive and the amount that you can improve, especially if you're somebody like me who is just not a natural runner. Uh, if I stop running, if I get into a phase like I was before this where I'm just not running at all, even though I'm really fit, when I'm moving a barbell, I'm strong, doing pull-ups, rowing, biking, there's a lot of aerobic benefit that comes from that, and I'm good with my lungs. Running specifically, though, it does not help me that much, right? Like, I can't po case in point, I mean, I guess it's not the best example in the world. I ran a 6:25 mile, which isn't impressive. It's not even good for someone who is or should be considered a top 1,000, fitness athlete in the world, according to the CrossFit rankings, right? Um, the best guys in CrossFit, which are not necessarily the best runners. There's plenty of people who have running backgrounds or are runners. They consider themselves more of a runner that dabble into CrossFit, or they are a CrossFitter, but they are a more of an aerobic guy. They have a running background. Those guys are going to be able to run miles in the high 4 minutes, 450, 445 to 5 minutes range. The best CrossFitters in the world who are, again, they're the most well-rounded, but they're still very good runners, and there's some very good runners amongst that group. They will pull a sub 5. They did a mile run test 2 years ago at the games, and many of them were like they came in right at 5:05, 5:05 to 5:10. So, I'm never gonna be that, and I don't want to be, but I do think that it would be a shame and just a complete lack of, effort or pursuit if I never ran a sub 6 mile in my life. Um, and as not good about my running as I actually feel like the 6:25 test in time, for the beginning of this 10-week phase was actually maybe better than what it should be, considering how little running I had been doing and just how little cardio I'd been doing leading up to that. So I'm hoping that with an increase both in a specific run program for 10 weeks, but also just an increase in cardio otherwise, um, I'm really hoping that this is a simple 10 weeks that can take me to sub 6 minutes. I'd really love to see closer to a 5:45 and try and drop like 40 seconds off that time. But I'm not sure of we'll see, sort of. I think there's some test workouts. I mean, I'm gonna run one tomorrow that's supposed to be at 90%, 90% of your current ability after 5 weeks of training. And that is supposed to be basically at or maybe a few seconds off faster than your test in time. We'll see how that feels. If I can run, somewhat easily a 6:20, a 6:15 to 6:20 tomorrow, then I'll feel pretty good at a not all out pace. I'll feel pretty good about breaking that 6-minute barrier in 5 weeks, especially with some drop temperatures outside, and then we'll really see how far we can push that into those fives. But that's kind of the goal. Um, the so that's where we're at right now. We're in the middle of the run program. We're doing well. Workout yesterday was brutal. Every 5 minutes for 3 rounds, 800 meters, into every 3 minutes for 3 rounds, 400 meters, um, right into each other. So after you finish the 800, the third 800 at the 10-minute mark, and those 800s, I was running in about oh God, what were my times? 3:30, 3:25, 3:20. I think I ran those in. You're supposed to increase your pace every round. So I went 3:30, 3:25, 3:20, and that was on the 5 minutes. So 0, 5, and 10. So at 13:20, I was done with my last 800. At that 15-minute mark, when that fourth 800 would have started, you switch to a 400 and you went every 3 minutes. So at the 15, at the 18, at the 21-minute mark. And you were to continue increasing pace and run those last 3 and 400-meter increments. So then I ran, oh God, I don't even remember, like 136, 134, and 130, 127 or something for the last 400. I don't remember. Brutal workout though. Brutal one. I didn't feel well for it. It was decently hot out. So take that into account. But even then, we were able to run the paces we wanted to run and complete the workout with the right objective, which was to increase pace over all 6 intervals. So we're feeling good. When you're doing a run program, every the interval workouts and the time trials and everything built within the program is sort of as you go along, kind of telling you if you're going to hit that end pace or not. And right now, I think we're good. I think we're lined up to have a pretty good improvement on that mile time. Um, my body weight is dropping, very slightly, and it's for two reasons. But my body weight is dropping, and it's funny how just uh, the domain of time can be so masking of reality, or just provide perspective in a way that you don't think is there. I've had several instances over the past, I'll call it 2 weeks, where I've realized how much less lean body weight wise, body composition wise, I am currently. And most people would see me right now and be like, they would take it. Like they would 100%. Like I still have a six pack. There's abs. There's definition. I look good, but it's wild, and it makes sense if you just look at the numbers straight up. But it's wild to see myself in pictures from a couple years ago. Um, got a memory on the Snapchat memories from 2 years ago, I believe, where we did a live podcast in Iowa City. 2 years ago, I would have been, well, we would have been, 9 months into having only one child. So we only had one, and we were into a rhythm where, we were out of newborn stage. Um, I was I think at this point, I was definitely doing more volume because we weren't coming out of that having a kid phase. You could just tell in my face and my arms, because I'm wearing a cutoff in the picture, that I'm carrying less body weight. And I would estimate that I was probably 10 to 15 pounds lighter at the time. Um, I saw myself on a TV interview that I did a couple weeks ago, and I thought, wow, my face looks fat. Like I look fat. Um, I've taken a couple pictures just with the kids recently, and I'm like, God damn, like I am not as lean as I used to be. And that makes sense because although I've lost probably 2 to 3 pounds over the last, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks, month, um, I'm still probably currently hovering around 205 ish. I think I got up to about 208 at the heaviest in this last, 6-month period. And which is funny to me because that's actually a weight that is very close. I mean, there's still a decent little amount to go, but there was oftentimes in my college career where I was around 214, 215. Got up a little higher than that, closer to 218 for some of those years, but those are years where I consider myself to be like, I mean, I was very my body composition was much different. If even if I gained back 5 pounds right now, that 210 would look significantly different than the 210 I was carrying around 10 years ago. So I've made crazy progress and I know that. But relative to where I've been at for the last 3 to 4 years, I've been for a long time I kind of hovered around 190. Um and that's sort of where I felt. I mean, I was very very happy with how I looked. Obviously, I was almost skinny to be a 5'10" and a half guy in CrossFit and only be 190 pounds. That's light for the kind of the height to weight ratio. Um, and as my volume increased, when I started to be a little bit more competitive and train with more volume, I just realized that the to maintain that body weight, I couldn't eat the right amount of calories that was also going to fuel my performance and fuel the amount of output I was doing in the gym. So, about a year and a half ago, yeah, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago maybe, around that time, I decided I need to slide this up and hang out more around 195 to 200, and I did that for, like, 18 months. I kind of sat between 195 and 200, 197, for a while, and then, um, when I decided to kind of earlier this year I decided that I continued to feel better and perform better, um, as I gained weight. I was still doing fine on the aerobic stuff. I was fitter than I'd ever been on stuff where you'd think, "Oh, you need to be lighter." My gymnastics were the best they'd ever been, all because I was just actually working at those things more. And the body weight wasn't being so affected. And my aesthetic, while yes, I certainly was not as lean. um, the leanest I ever got was after a marathon. I remember I mean, I had lost a lot of sweat during that, but I think I actually dipped to 179. Um, Post marathon, I was 179. And I was absolutely shredded back in like 2021. And an extra 20 pounds on my frame done correctly with a good diet and good fuel is what I need to actually fuel high intensity CrossFit training. And so I've been hanging out at 200, and then we had the baby. I didn't do as much. I was hurt. I stopped doing a ton of cardio and did more lifting, which was in my case a signal to put on more weight, put on a few pounds of muscle. And so we climbed up higher from 200 to 203 to 205 to the point where about 6 weeks ago it had reached a point where I had been far enough out from not doing tons of training, and I was still eating like shit, and I hadn't started the running program yet, to where we were getting, like, legitimately a kinda for me, kinda tubby, right? The definition everywhere was starting to disappear, um, and the weight continued to go up, and it was which is fine, we were kind of coming to that peak anyway. And it was time to kind of reverse out and go the other way. And that's just sort of how the phases work, right? So, how do we do that? Well, one, stop eating ice cream every single fucking night and maybe just do that like once a week or twice a week. And that's about the frequency that I've been going at for the last, 6 weeks now since we started the running program. In conjunction with that, we started the running program, which means we were now running. I think I'm averaging now probably 10-ish miles a week, which is not, I mean, that's nothing. That's a single day for most people who are runners. Um, but from 0 miles a week and just no cardio exercise in general to now I'm running around 5 to 6 miles on my long runs, and I'm doing somewhere between 2.5 to 4 miles of total running on the other 2 days a week. So at most right now, I'm actually probably getting closer to, I guess, 15 miles a week. I'm running 10 to 15 miles a week. That does something for you. Um, when you're running fast and you're trying to run fast, that stimulus tells your body, hey, let's lose weight then, because if you want to run fast, be lighter, assuming you're fueling it properly. And then on top of that, I've just been healthier, right? Again, with the diet, I've been eating cleaner. I've been consciously not tracking, but consciously thinking about calories more. I've been trying to time my calories a little better, clean up the entire diet as a whole, and I've been trying to get more steps. Right before this podcast I'm recording, I did 6 minutes on the treadmill, just a quick 6 minutes. Do that a couple times a day, and I'm still not in a super great rhythm of that. I get like one extra walk in a day. That's just a little mini walk, 6 to 10 minutes, but that adds hundreds, if not thousands, of steps to your day. And with all the things I've done over the last 10 years of being out of college, the the easiest way to drop weight is to increase your step count. Just put an extra 2 to 4 to 5,000 steps on your daily number, and that activity is going to you can live life exactly the same and just add 3 to 5,000 steps a day, and you will drop weight, and it will probably be fat. Easiest way to drop weight. And so I've added that back in. So not only am I getting all the steps from the running workouts 3 times a week, but I'm adding in additional steps to what I normally would get. And that is what is currently bringing my weight back down. I feel better, I look better, and I am performing better. As I said, we feel pretty good to be on track for our mile program time, and we are looking good. And I think I'd like to bring us down to right under 200 again. I don't know if I need to be under 200. Um, Again, there comes a point in time where I've gained a lot of strength. I feel very powerful and strong right now. Some of that is weight moves weight, mass moves mass. When I start to see or feel significant, and significant is sort of very specific for me, but in all the lifts, once I start to feel like I'm not doing the numbers that I need to be doing, or I'd like to be doing, I will stop sort of the cut right there. Or I will continue to do everything that I'm doing, eating clean, getting my steps in. It's going to be cold here, so that treadmill is going to become of big use in the winter. I'll probably continue. I want to continue to try and do 2 running workouts a week, even after this mile program. I just think the fitness gain from running is too good to not do that, especially when you have the option. Um, but I will continue. But I will just eat more. I'll increase protein and carbs around workout times so that I can maybe maintain weight, but maybe muscle mass can continue to increase, and maybe fat continue to very, very slowly decrease, and the body comp can kind of turn around in a big way. I think about 200 is exactly the right weight for me. 5'10" and a half, 200 pounds, and then always just trying to make that 200 as much muscle as possible. Um, that's about the sweet spot for me. So that's where we're at. Um, this specifically, this run program is sort of what I'm anchored onto right now. The diet is going to continue: more water, more protein, more walking, clean food. All of that is going to continue to benefit me. Specifically, the run program. Again, I'm in starting week 6. The day before, one day before you're hearing this, I'm starting week 6 of 10 weeks. So we're starting the back half, and we'll see where we're at then. I will get a body weight exact for next week, and then we'll see how much I can shave off in the last basically month of this program, and then we'll go from there. But fitness is good. Again, we're still strong. We're increasing that cardio stuff. I did a 3 by 3 minute echo bike workout on Saturday with 1 minute rest in between. You're supposed to stay in zone 4, not hit zone 5 heart rate. I was able to do that. It was a repeat workout from 1 year ago where I know for a fact I was going into zone 5 last year because I just wasn't tracking heart rate as much. And I did the exact same number of calories in that 9 minutes of work that I did last year at a slightly lower heart rate. So as much as I like to think that my fitness is not where it was at this time last year in the macro, picture of like, oh, I don't know if I can get back there. We are close. Did a workout on was that one Saturday as well? Yeah, I think that maybe Friday. 30 seconds slower than last year. And last year I was going against Cole in the gym, um, in air conditioning. And so without a push from a partner and in a much hotter environment, we were very, very close to matching that time. I think mentally we're realizing that we're actually not as far off as we thought. We're very, very close. And, it will come back to me faster every year that I continue to maintain this base. And so we can do good things this year. Again, no plans to compete or sign up for any qualifiers, but that open is what I'm looking at, and we're gonna see what we can do. That's about it. Disc golf wise, it is Monday. Again, I'm not usually worried about disc golf till later in the week when I can go play. However, over the last 3 rounds ish of playing, just warm up round at Centennial around a couple months ago that I did get to play with my brothers and the round the other day. I've lost a couple discs, and I've been meaning to kind of complete my bag anyway. So I think I'm going to head to Shields today and maybe pick up 1 or 2 discs if I can find the specific ones that I want. Um, I'm really, really close to having a bag that I'm really comfortable with and having a shot and a disc for every shot. Uh, but we're gonna head out to Shields for the first time in a while, and then this week we're gonna try and go play again. I'm not sure where. Um, a lot of these courses, half of these courses are very woodsy, and not that I'm planning on throwing it in the woods, but I'm not a pro, and discs do end up in the leaves, in the trees, in the bushes, and I'd like to let the weather and nature kind of run its course to where those courses can kind of die out and thin out a little bit before I go to some of them. So not sure where we'll be going this week. We're going to go somewhere, and we'll have another full round, potentially the first round with 2 or 3 new discs if I can find them at the store today. So that's the podcast for this week. If you have any questions about managing body weight, you probably listen to me and you're like, wow, this guy can manipulate his body weight to exactly the numbers he wants. That's literally 10 years of tracking food input and exercise output and steps and knowing how to manipulate that. It's actually very easy if you know what you're doing. 99% of the population on earth doesn't know what they're doing. And so that's why um it's a really, really great tool to have, is just be whatever body weight you want to be and pretty much whatever body composition you want to be. And that's sort of a massive kind of part of the infrastructure of how I approach my fitness and health. So um hit me up and ask questions if you have any. Hope you guys have a great week. I said this was going to be a short podcast, and then I kind of got into it. So, thanks for listening. See you next week.